expressed on this program do not necessarily represent those of Revive FM or its management.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Muazzam Ali Sandh, and you are watching and listening Revive FM 94.0, and this is our regular show, Your Voice with Muazzam Ali Sandh. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very fantastic show in relations to ongoing Women's Day. All of you know that yesterday, World's International Women's Day was celebrated across the world very warmly. A lot of brilliant women come forward and share their views. And today, we have very renowned two women and ladies, Miss Tracey Colman. I would like to introduce her. Miss Tracey Colman, she is the director of Church of Scientology. And also, I would like to introduce another guest. She joined us from Pakistan, Barrister Needa Salam. Assalamu alaikum, and good afternoon to both of you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Needa, your voice is a little slow and your camera is frozen. We just fix this issue and later. Hi, Tracey. Good afternoon. How are you? Thank you very much for joining this show today on a very short notice. I appreciate you spared your time for this show. We know that you're very busy doing so many things, especially in lockdown. So how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I'm very happy that the sun is shining in London and it's lifting our spirits. And also we had a fantastic Women's Day yesterday. So all is good here in London.
Well done. Yeah, because the weather was very frozen and since long lockdown due to the coronavirus, this sunny weather and pleasant weather brings happinesses and smiles on people's face. So,
I agree completely.
Yeah, how are you doing during the lockdown?
Well, during the lockdown, which has been a difficult time for, I think, everybody in the United Kingdom and across the world, as you mentioned before, I'm the Director of Community Affairs at the Church of Scientology. So we've actually been quite busy during the lockdown, and what we've been working on a very special project where we're going into places of worship across London to sanitize their buildings as a community service provided and sponsored by our members. So far we've been to 43 places of worship, including mosques, churches, Buddhist temples, Hindu temples. We've also been to the Indian YMCA, we've been to some embassies, and we're providing this free service, and the purpose of it is to help people feel safe and feel secured and reassured that they can actually go back to their places of worship, or maybe if they're going for private prayer, that they have some sense of security. So that's the project we've been working on. We're fully trained, and this service is open to anybody in the community. If you need help, please do contact myself or yourself, and I would be glad to help.
That is really great to know that what you are doing. I think Barrister Needa Salam just joined us again. Hi, Needa, can you hear us? I think Needa's side, the internet connection is little down. Yeah, so Tracey, I really love to see the great work doing by the women across the world. As you know that the women are doing really amazingly great contribution into our society, into our community, and they are vital part of our society and community. And what you are doing, that is honestly very inspirational and motivational to rest of the women. I remember we participated in so many campaigns for the community work with you. You always be the leader of women, even the leader of men as well, leading the whole campaign. Would you
Don't
like
tell the men that.
would you like to share some experience, the campaigns you run for community works?
Yeah, well, I'd like to take up this point of being a woman who is leading. It's a very interesting process because women, from my viewpoint, they bring so many good qualities to the world. We bring intelligence, we bring patience, we bring kindness, we bring beauty in the home, and we are also peacemakers. And many women in the world have changed the society dramatically. And I'd like to cite a few of those people, if I may. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that will be great.
Yeah, so some of the people that come to my mind are Princess Diana. She was a woman and she was a figurehead, and she had such a charitable way about her. You know, she traveled around the world as an ambassador for not only humanity, but as a woman. And she used that to the great effect across the world. And then we have Queen Victoria, one of my favorites. Eleanor Roosevelt. You know, she implemented, she was instrumental in implementing the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in the United Nations in 1946. So,
can you tell the name? Because we always talk about Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I never knew this fact that was led by a woman.
Yes, I mean, it was the wife of Roosevelt. She was part of a committee that came together after the Second World War, when thousands and thousands and thousands of people lost their lives in the name of war. And this group came together and they decided to put together some fundamental rights that protected every man, woman, and child on this planet. And so she helped form the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is one of our key documents now in use around the world.
Exactly. Oh, wow, that is great. Okay, go on. Other names?
Other names. So, yeah, and we have like Coco Chanel, you know, one of the greatest fashion designers, and Emily Pankhurst, who fought for the rights of women. I remember learning that when I was at school many years ago and being inspired by this woman who at her time, you know, she was standing up and she was bringing something very new to the table. But all of these women have changed the path of our lives and our community and our society.
This is very amazing, honestly, because the names you given, these names played a great role in the history, the world we are living in now. They influence the our current life, the life which we call advanced life, the life which is full of rights, full of fundamental rights, full of civil rights, the women rights, children rights. So these are the names who played a great role. And ladies and gentlemen, these are the great women's. And this is not the Women Day. This is the whole week and whole month celebrations and giving the contribution, tribute to the great women's. So Tracey, the work which you informed us earlier about the recent project to sanitizations of different faith places. So can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely, yes. So our team, we're all fully professionally trained, and we're using a sanitization system called Decon 7. And that stands for the very, very highest level of sanitization, which kills 99.
Is it the similar to the hospital used in ICU?
I'm not actually sure the name of the one that's used in the hospitals, Mr. Sandhu, but we basically started using this in our headquarters, where we have 1,500 staff in America, and it was a hotspot for COVID-19. And so the head of our church, you know, we wanted to protect our own staff and our own parishioners, and we developed this technology of sanitizing. We have a fogging machine which sprays the mist of this disinfectant across the room at 30 meters, and it will find bacteria, germs, and viruses on the ceilings, underneath tables, on desks. And so it's extremely powerful, but it is eco-friendly. And that's what we've been doing. And then we go along to the different places of worship. But one thing we ask is that they also provide 5 or 6 volunteers, because we want to work together. This is an interfaith project where, you know, in times of adversity, people from different faiths can come together. We can learn more about each other, each other's religion, and work together against COVID-19, because ultimately we should all be working together, all races, all cultures, all people, all religions, to bring about normality.
Wow, that is great. Do you think that during the COVID-19, the societies are disconnected, communities are disconnected, families are disconnected, they can't visit with each other, and of course the harmony between the communities, between the families, and especially between interfaith communities, it lacked during this lockdown. And similar to the schools which were remain closed, the teachers are facing a biggest challenge to cope up the gap the children has missed, the lessons during the age, the important time of their life. The similar with the, if you apply the same principle in the society and community, the community also has missed a lot of things. The community also has missed so much in relations to the bridges which create harmony between the different communities, different cultures, different societies and religions. Do you think that, because this is the biggest challenge for faith leaders, for community leaders to fill up that gap now?
I totally agree with what you're saying. When we go into some of the mosques, the Sikh temples, the key thing that is being communicated to me as the leader of this project is how much it has affected the place of worship. Is not only a place where we can go and worship, but it's a place where people can come. It may be their only place they have to interact, especially the elderly. They would come to the Gurdwara, they would come to the mosque, and they would chat and have a cup of tea. Exactly. And now they can't do that. So absolutely, this has definitely separated our communities and our families. So I think that's been one of the hardest challenges of COVID-19, definitely.
And also the community leaders and faith leaders, they need to do more things to cover up that gap. They need more when the lockdown will be over and the coronavirus issue will be controlled. A lot of people, that even everyone will be vaccinated and the community becomes safe again. At that time, the leaders and communities, the different people, influential people, they need to give them more chances and opportunities to the community to fill up that gap.
Absolutely. And I think that once we can come together in communal worship, which I think is April the 22nd or something, I think that we're going to have a renaissance of community. We're going to have a renaissance of friendship. And I think that my positive thought on this is that despite the oppression and the difficult time this has been where we've been separated, the good thing about human beings is they always bounce back, and we will be stronger and we will be more united because of COVID-19. But I think it's a great opportunity for thinking about what events we can plan for that time and how we can move forward and bring people closer and tighter together.
Exactly, that is very important, and these are the things we are looking forward. Everyone is waiting to see. Everyone is waiting.
I can't wait to see you.
I know. I still waiting.
I miss you.
I miss you too, Tracey. You are one of the most vibrant member of the community leaders. You run so many campaigns for the community, and really everyone appreciate your work. especially what you do in the cleaning project, Christmas events, New Year events, interfaith events, human rights events. How many I can tell you? Even coronavirus, you provided a great training to all of us how to keep up ourselves safe and vaccinated our homes and our loved ones. That is great, amazing. Needa
Thank you.
Salam, thank you very much, Tracey. Needa Salam, our guest from Pakistan, Barrister Needa Salam, she just joined us again. I think due to technical issues, it was delayed. Hi, Needa. Good afternoon.
Hello, Sidhu. How are you? Good afternoon. Hello to the other panelists as well in today's discussion.
Yeah, Tracey. Yeah.
All right, Tracey.
Yeah, Nida, we missed you during the first conversation sessions. I want you to take part.
All right.
We need your viewpoint in relations to what the women have done so far to build up this great society, this advanced world, the world where we are living in now. We are enjoying over all the basic rights, human rights, the fundamental rights, and the women have contributed a lot. And Tracey has referred great names in the history of women who played a great part in the current world. So, what is your comment on that? And also, I want you to tell us that at the Women's World International Day, what you want to say to all of the listeners, women, how you inspire them.
All right, Sindhu. I strongly believe that women are the pivotal component of our society, but unfortunately, they still have hindrances in getting their rights in different parts of the world. Women should be empowered with their rights like education, health, security decision-making authority, better living standard, and very importantly, respect. If the society is run by men and women with equity, it will lead to a development. Women perform 66% of the world's work and produce 50% of the food. Unfortunately, yet earn only 10% of the income and own 1% of the property. They earn less than men and have less opportunity for growth if I consider the South Asian world. Poor women have less paid jobs, longer working hours, unhealthy working conditions during the hard times to look after their families, especially in Asia. Empowerment of women challenge injustice, and when I said injustice, I strongly referred towards the changes in the society and the structure at the moment. Empowerment could be self-empowerment, collateral empowerment, you can say that, social empowerment. Women have brains, I strongly believe that, and capable of doing the same work done by men. Huddle to women empowerment is actually just in the minds of the people. As far as the strong women you asked for, in Britain we had Theresa May. How can we forget Margaret Thatcher? You know, she was a role model back in 80s and 90s and 70s, if you consider Thatcher and all that. Yeah, so women know the wrong is being done and feels that it's useless to speak against men. So collaterally, we should empower other women. We should lift other women in society. I strongly agree with one sentence of Napoleon in his book once I read back in my young days of uni life, that give me an educated mother, I will give you an educated society. So if a woman as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter is educated, she will be economically, socially, politically independent and will be able to survive and can give you next better generation.
That is brilliant. Give me educated mothers, I'll give you the great society.
Yeah,
that is very inspirational. So Tracey, what do you think the mother plays, how important role the mother play in the family, in the life, in the children's life, how they bring up them?
Well, the mother obviously is a key role, as is the father, because children look to their parents for education, for manners, for respect, for how to behave and how to deal with life. So the role of the woman in society, as Needa said, is that, you know, it's so key. It's so key because whatever, if a mother is educated, then she will pass that knowledge down through her family and through future generations. So I totally agree with that point, the importance of the mother, but also this responsibility lies with the father as well.
Father as well. That is very true.
We can't just give it all to us.
Agreed.
I wanted to say something. Even though we're talking about women's rights and the role of women, ultimately, I believe that we are a spiritual being, and a spiritual being has no gender. It isn't a female spirit or a male spirit. So ultimately, in our true sense, without the physical form, we are all equal, just like Human Rights #1 says. We are all born free and equal. And it's only when we have this physical form that I think these discriminations and this lack of equality start to appear. I just wanted to throw that into the arena.
No, that is a great thing you said. We all born free and fair.
Free and equal.
Free and equal.
As human right #1.
Human right #1 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Yeah. we are all born free and equal. Thank you very much. Visual things inspired and make a brilliant effect. Thank you for showing that, Tracy.
Sorry to cut in.
Nice. Okay, Needa, tell us more about how do you think, because you are one of the women in Azad Kashmir who is playing a great role there. You are inspiration for loads of women out there, and I believe that your initiative to contest the elections to become the member of the parliament in Azad Kashmir National Assembly, that inspired a lot of others. How you thought about that when you know that there are not a lot of support and lot of hurdles, as you mentioned before, for women?
Sidhu, actually, the system in South Asia is entirely different as compared to the Western world. I was born and brought up here, and I went to abroad for further studies. I've got exposure and experience in terms of academic and professional. So the area of Pakistan where my ancestors are from, that's not very, very developed actually, and I'm the first female foreign qualified. And when I came back to my region, I strongly felt that my people need me at that time, because they don't have the basic fundamental rights in terms to exercise, in terms of better education, quality health facilities. Healthcare system is not that great, and when I roamed around in the village with my people, so I really felt bad, and I felt that I have moral obligation and social obligation to do something for the deprived section of the society.
Excellent, Needa. Do you think that in the Azad Kashmir women's, they are really actively playing a leading role in the society, and they have been given a proper opportunities there? Do you think that?
As far as young generation is concerned, from the age of 20 to early 30s at the moment, girls of my age, they are quite efficient in terms of exercising their rights, like right to have a vote, eliminate wage gap, gender equality. But if I talk about earlier generations and the women in Kashmiri parliament, yes, they got the place, but a very little place in terms of representation of women as a gender.
Right, that is great.
Because when I went to United Kingdom, and when I got academics from there, when I was done with that, and when I have experience of House of Commons, House of Lords, and Speaker and strong women, strong-headed women, I have experience like Gordon Brown, Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, Boris Johnson, these all eras actually, in England, Labour Party, Conservative Party, during my academic life. So, when I compare the first world with the third world in terms of representation of women, it's very difficult to say that, like, we haven't got that equal opportunities 100% here, the way a lot of women got that opportunity in Western world. But I think with the passage of the time, we can make our way.
Right. So do you think that, first of all, I really give you regards and congratulations from ourselves.
Thank you, Sindhu. Highly obliged.
For your great success to being selected for the MLA, member legislative.
No, I'm not selected. I'm just in the run at the moment. Not selected yet, just in the run at the moment.
Selected candidate from the party. You are in the
party. Decision is still pending with the party.
All right. Okay. The decision is still pending in the party. I thought you had been nominated by the party. No,
final decision is pending at the moment.
No, we believe that you are very energetic, highly qualified, and have that vision and experience. And the party should consider you as a great and potential candidate. So we hope so that you will be elected as a member of Legislative Assembly in Azad Kashmir. So what is your plan once you go into the power as a very powerful lady in Azad Kashmir, being an MLA? What you will do there for women?
Sindhu, actually, you know what? As I said that by profession, I've studied law and all that, so I'm very passionate about human rights. I write for multifarious newspapers nationally and internationally, and having experienced exposure of the Western world and living in Eastern world, and from developed to underdeveloped world. So I'm very conscious about my people and their well-being. My main focus will be about honor killing, to work for that, gender equality. Domestic violence will be on my agenda. Education, a better education system. If I will get the chance to represent women in Kashmiri Parliament in Pakistan, I will definitely collaborate with Western universities, and for our students to have an experience and exposure the way I have got in terms of education. Better healthcare system. Our healthcare system is not that great, as I have experienced NHS and private healthcare system in England. So it's a dream that with the passage of the time, hope so, after a couple of years, we will be able to establish a better healthcare system, protection through new legislations, especially on violence and harassment and sexual abuse. I'm very passionate about children. I'm very against child marriage, in different parts of the South Asian world. As you know, that South Asian world is full of patriarchal social norms. I will prefer to spread awareness to eliminate patriarchal system. Middle class professionals, I will work for them. Wage laborers, daily wage laborers, I will work for them. Clean water is the biggest issue in Pakistan, especially in my region. So definitely that will be on my agenda. Importantly, I'm very passionate to work on dowry-related harassment against women. That is a very serious concern in Pakistan, especially for the young girls, like, their parents are not able to afford for the dowry, and because of the orthodox tradition and taboos, most of the girls stayed with their parents for the rest of their lives and not able to enjoy the marital life because of the dowry doctrines here. And Pakistan is becoming a hub of a rape culture, as we have seen a lot of rape cases and child molestation cases. A very famous case, motorway rape, where a woman was driving from one city to another city, and her car broke down, and she was raped by the man. And so if I will get chance in the Parliament of Kashmir, I will definitely make sure stronger and effective legislations to bring into practice, especially for women and especially for children, on rape, on domestic violence, dowry related harassments. That will be on my agenda.
That is a great agenda and very inspirational agenda. What do you say, Tracey, on that?
I say you have your work cut out for you. My goodness. And I love what you say. And I listen very, very closely to your goals. And I work in the field of human rights. I train people, I educate people in those 30 human rights in that declaration. And everything you say fits in to those 30 human rights. And I think you will make an amazing, amazing politician. And I wish you very, very, very good luck. And I would love to work with you. And what I would like to say also,
if I will get the chance, and I would like to collaborate with my Western allies in the Western world for the betterment of the human being. At the end of the day, the thing which matters is humanity, and which I have learned from the Western world. Nothing is above than the humanity and the law.
Exactly.
I totally agree. And I think that's a really key point, this word humanity. You know, at the end of the day, no matter what, whether we're male, female, our religion, our culture, our race, we have to treat people with respect and equality and integrity. And I worked with another human rights trainer, and he has this great line about human rights. When you educate people, when you teach people the 30 human rights, what you do is you empower the people who are being discriminated against, their rights are being violated. But also, if you educate the people that are the perpetrators of these human rights abuses, you actually socialize them. So my stance on this is that if we could get some human rights education, I don't know whether that's allowed in Kashmir. That's correct, Kashmir?
Well, you know, the Pakistani in Pakistani part of Kashmir, we have it's a separate state which comes under Pakistan, and Pakistan itself give a lot of rights. You know, we have schools, we have like hospitals and everything. There's no violence in any manner. You know, so just it's a need of the era, it's a demand of the era to spread awareness, because I believe that if only one individual got an opportunity to have a better experience exposure, it's better to go back to your people and to spread that experience and exposure with them. And I strongly believe that human rights practices should be in every society, in every country. If I compare India in contrast with Pakistan and Indian occupied Kashmir, there's a violation of human rights there from our perspectives. Rapes are commonly done by Indian military. No education system there. Women are not allowed to even vote. The lockdown, you know, the recent lockdown in occupied Kashmir. So so if I compare from that perspective, in Pakistani part of Kashmir, we do have all the rights, but we just need to educate our people, because obviously a lot of people living in the villages are not having even basic necessities to fulfill, the poverty, you know, and all that. So with the passage of the time, I hope so, if we will work on these points or on these elements, we will bring a change and progression in the society.
Exactly. Nida, one thing which I want to highlight here, I know that a lot of human rights violation is happening in the Indian occupied Kashmir, but let's talk about the human rights violations in Pakistan. Of course, there is a need to empower the women. There is a need to restore the human rights in rural areas. There is a need to stop the child labor. There is a need to stop the domestic violence with iron hands. There is a need to eliminate the dowry system, the old system of dowry in our society and culture. And there is a need of the community's harmony, because there is a division within our community, like Baradari system, the caste system. And also there is a sectarian system, different sects, school of thoughts. There's so many things we need to work on that in perspective of restoring the human rights, upholding the rule of law, having the qualification as a lawyer. You are a barrister, I'm a solicitor, so we both, and I believe Tracey, she's an educationist for human rights. She also has worked a lot for human rights, giving that training and educations to groups of different people here in London, in her church. But what my point is, there's a lot of things we still need to focus on in Pakistan. in terms
Sindhu,
of...
I would like to add that in Pakistan, the violations of human rights are not like that in Indian occupied Kashmir. In Pakistan, there are laws. Yes, the question here is that we need to implement that laws rather than to let that laws to be stayed in the fancy books. Implementation is the problem because of the population, because of the laid back system, in this country. But in occupied Kashmir, which is occupied by India, the violations of human rights there, like, it's unacceptable in any society. Imagine like how the women are raped by Indian military under the umbrella of Indian government. Imagine how the pellet bullets were used on children. Imagine like how male members of the family were threatened in front of the female weak members of the family, and were killed by Indian military. So if I consider in that context, in Pakistan, yes, there are laws on child labor, restricting child labor. There are laws on forced labor. There are laws on against rape and all that. But we need to bring into practice, and that could only be possible through effective decisions by the court of law. So we cannot expect an efficient decisions in the cases in Pakistan like the first world, because here the system is very different.
What do you think that about the responsibility of the government to implement the laws and also to uphold the rule of law? Because we can see that whatever violations you mentioned is happening in Indian Kashmir, that is extremely condemnable. We always raise our voice against the brutality and the serious violation of human rights in occupied Kashmir. But here we are talking about today is how we can make the women's more empowerment wherever we are working within our own zone, within our own territory. We can raise voice, we can spread the knowledge, we can spread the words to the different community and society, and we can play our role, how we can play our role within our society to make a strong influence on the next generations, how they follow the right path, the correct path. They must have been guided properly. These are the things I think the governments play always, and authorities play always a great role to do that, apart from the other charitable organizations or different organizations who do the voluntary work. I think I made my point. Do you agree, Tracey?
Yes, agreed.
I think that's a really good point, and I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt, but don't quote me. I think she said that human rights begin at home. And just how we were talking about the role of the mother, or whoever you live with, whether you're living with your grandparents or whatever, they begin in the small places. Just as the other panelists said today, that we some people say they know these rights, and if you interview, like do a survey, people say, yeah, I know my human rights. But the key point here, I think, is that it's one thing to know your rights, and it's another thing to live them and to implement them. And that's the situation we face in many places in the world, that we know, we're all born free and equal, and some people don't even know that is their right. Many women don't know that is their right. But then when I train people and when we educate people, I make it very clear, it's if I know that one of my human rights is that we're all born free and equal, and then I see that equality in a workplace being denied, then it's my responsibility to step in, as hard as it may be, to defend and to stand up for that human right. And that's where we get to the point of living the human rights. And it's not easy, but I think it's a responsibility. That would be my point that I'd like to contribute.
Now, thank you so much. Needa Salam, our show time is going to end. I want you to give a message to our listeners about anything you want to say on World Women Week or month, because day already has passed. So what is your message to the listeners in terms of the women's contribution in the society?
My message to the audience is that empower every single woman in society, because through their empowerment, we will have a progressive, developed society, which is very much in need for the next generations to be able to survive. Yeah, that is my message.
Okay, thank you so much. And Tracey, do you want to add any message in the end?
I'd like to say to all the women listening today, you are all amazing. You are all beautiful human beings. And us women, we have to come together and we have to unite and we have to learn our human rights. We have to spread those human rights and we have to lead by example those human rights. And if anyone needs my help, I'm here for you. We have human rights materials. I will train you. I will work with you. But I think the main thing is let's stick together, us ladies, and happy Women's Day for yesterday and for the rest of the week.
Oh, thank you so much. That is a great message. Needa Salam, we really sorry that you got little time because of technical difficulties.
No problem, understandable.
If you missed any point which you want to make, I can give you another minute. You can make that point. Then we'll end up this show. I just want to give the opportunity to you for that.
All right. So I would like to add something from the Holy Book, and which is quite based on equity. That the Holy Quran said that believers, both men and women, they are friends and protectors of one another. They all enjoy the doing of what is right and forbid the doing of what is wrong, and are constant in prayers and render the purify deeds and pay ahead unto God and his messenger. So I strongly believe that men and women are equal and should be treated with equality because equity should prevail.
Wow, equity prevail. That is a great message in the end. Thank you so much, ladies. You both are amazing. I'm really grateful for both of you to joining this show. I hope that we will have another show another time, according to you, both of your availability, to discuss more things. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Sidhu. It was a pleasure always. Thank you, Tracey. Look forward to speak further.
Yes, lovely to meet you, even though it's through this. Not in person yet.
Yeah, we all are waiting to lockdown gets over and we can meet each other. That is true. And I also will invite both of you in our studio one day when you both will be here in London.
Definitely. Wow. Let the corona to be over, COVID-19.
Yeah, that is true. And all the best wishes for your election, Needa.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. You were a great sport, Sidhu, always. And you are true male feminist because of the discussions we had earlier. So I admire that somebody from the same profession, is doing a great job.
Oh, thank you so much for your great words.
Keep doing a good work. You're an inspiration for the next young generation.
Oh, thank you so much.
You are a proponent for human rights and what is right.
Yeah.
Whenever I've heard you speak, Mr. Sandhu, what is right is what you communicate, and that is so important. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We always try our best to raise our voice, to spread the message and educate others and make the point. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the great talk today. You were all watching and listening in relations to the world's Women's Day, and we had been joined by two distinguished and great women, Tracey Colman and Needa Salam. Hopefully you enjoyed our show. Any feedback you can share on our website, and also you can leave any feedback, revivefm.co.uk, and also we will share this link on Facebook and YouTube. Stay tuned and keep watching Revive FM 94.0, and see you next week at the same day, same time with Muazzam Ali Sandh. Thank you.